Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I know it's been over 2.5 years since I posted my last video. So I'll just quickly summarize why I haven't been on YouTube. So basically put, the last time I posted my last video on YouTube was a project video which I was working on as an intern. And after that, we were hit by the pandemic and the lockdown happened. So once the lockdown happened, I personally lost a lot of immediate family as well as a few of the far relatives. And then I moved into focusing more on my growth and my college life. And then I became the management head of my college. So I took up a lot more responsibility there. So I didn't really get time to get back to YouTube, but I always wanted to keep making videos. However, I didn't know how to start. Now, once I graduated from college, which was quite recently, I decided that it's time to come back to my YouTube and to streamline my content more, to make it more beneficial for both the audience and me as well. Now, before my content was revolving majorly around entertainment and vlogging, but now I think I'm gonna transition that to making it more of informative stuff and content which I feel is gonna help you as you the audience. So coming to what we are gonna be doing today is we are gonna be talking to Mohit Sharma. Now, who is Mohit? So Mohit is a global leader and a partner at a top MNC. We'll be listening to him and knowing more about what he does and where he holds this position from him itself. But just to put everything in perspective, Mohit is just a BCom graduate. He recently completed CGMA, which is Chartered Global Management Accounting. However, this has nothing to do with his current position because it was quite recently that he got the certification. So when I heard that someone like Mohit exists and that we don't really need big degrees to reach a position like a partner level on a top MNC, I realized that okay, it's time for me to actually sit down and have a chat with this inspirational leader. And then I also thought, why not just take my camera and start off from here, because it would be a great opportunity to network and also to benefit from whatever advice he'd be giving us. So I decided to have a few of my friends join me, and then we hit up Mohit, and he was kind enough to agree to speak with us. And so let's directly cut to what Mohit has to say, and let us have him introduce himself. So anyway, if you're new to the channel, please make sure to like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's move to the video.
My name is Mohit Sharma. Around 20 years of experience, 20 years plus. Started working in the year 2002. This was in NCR. Was a BCom graduate like you only. Okay, BCom passed from University of Delhi. That's how I started up, and was coming from a very humble background, practically from a city named Ghaziabad. Education was in Delhi, which is just next to it. Started with the CRM domain, so customer relationship management. So purchase services, vendor support. In very simple terms, what you call as a customer service call center, contact center. That's where I started with. This was with GE. General Electric. It used to be GE Capital International Services in those days. What you know as Jetpack today, the parent company was Checkis. I was part of Checkis. In 2002, 2003. Spent around 6.5 years with the same company. And this was started with CRM, then CRM used to be night shift and I needed day shift once I got married. So in order to get moved to day shift, I applied for finance and accounting related job because I was a BCom, so I understood what is depreciation, what is amortization, what is what and not. I was not uncomfortable with it. It is just that, just like you are doing tech support, I was doing customer support, something similar. Okay. So this was a refined customer support in the sense this was for healthcare customers. So hospitals used to call us. So there is a patient on the table, we need help and all that stuff. So it was kind of a refined one. Learned a lot about Lean and Six Sigma because Jenkins or GE used to be in those days, okay, the employee signed up the agreement, let's insert Six Sigma in his black. So quite literally, it was a fascinating methodology in those days because the technology wasn't that advanced and there was not much. So these kind of value stream mapping, lean thinking, full production, load leveling, and all that stuff. This is the kind of stuff that used to be there from a management insight standpoint. So once I moved into finance and accounting, I spent around 1 year into core finance and accounting, setting up the entire accounts payable operations space in Jettis. Then I moved to re-engineering. So this was the consulting arm. So that was the first time I got a chance to move my family to England for about 1 year in Brighton for an engagement with one of the largest consumer products companies of the world. And I was a resident expert for their shared services team. So that's how I got exposed to one after another. So channels started opening up, and by this time I had completed my Six Sigma Green Belt certification. 2009, I moved to Bangalore with IBM in a kind of a techno-functional role. So this was still a finance and accounting as a domain, but technology was the key lever in order to exercise change. So just like in the previous role, Lean Six Sigma or continuous improvement was the key lever to exercise the change. Here, technology was the key lever to exercise the change. Spent around 4.5 years, then moved to Capgemini. Spent a good deal of time in Capgemini, especially in the consulting business as an enterprise architect. Very interestingly, I'm taking a small pivot back because from a career management standpoint, it might be of interest to your viewers.
Sure.
The pivot is 2006. I was just in Jetpack, Jettis. It recently became Jetpack. So I was just sitting over there. Normal day, my boss comes over and says, okay, there is a senior leader coming over from Jetpack. He would like to sit with you. So just explaining what all we do into this process. It's just a normal thing for you. Okay, I allowed him. The gentleman asked me a lot of questions. He was an Indian based out of UK. He was a UK citizen, but by origin he was an Indian person. So he asked me a lot of questions. I answered them, and he was happy. And then I asked him one question. I said, "What is your qualification?" That was a very innocent question because I was so impressed by his demeanor. He was so polite, professional. The way he was speaking, the choice of words that he was making. Said this has got something to do with the education of the person. He said, I'm a CIMA, CIMA. I said, what is CIMA? Never heard about that degree before. We knew CA, we never knew, at those times we did not know CPA. Globalization was not that immense in 2007. So he said, I'm CIMA from UK. So, okay, there must be a CIMA, then I Googled it and I said, okay, one fine day we will do CIMA. Didn't touch this thought ever. It just remained with me. 2015, I joined Capgemini. There is a mail comes over from consulting that, okay, we will be sponsoring educational programs. If you are interested in something, we'll sponsor it. But the deal is if you pass, the cost is us. If you fail, the cost is yours.
Okay.
That was the deal. I enrolled for CIMA in 2015.
Okay.
Initially, cleared the initial level exams. It was easy. Company sponsored it. Then I started realizing, okay, what I got myself into. It was tough. It was excruciatingly tough, painfully tough. And then what started happening that I cleared 2 levels, and then I was so drained and tired because all this while I was traveling incessantly. So these are the times 2015 to 2019, I would say, where I was like, I was traveling 29 to 30 times in a year.
Okay. That's a lot.
Either Paris, US, you just name it, London, anywhere. I used to come over just for 2 days, get myself refreshed again, have some home food, take another flight. That was my life in those days. And along with that, I used to carry my rough sheets, the CIMA notes, pencils, because CIMA is completely about just looking at a question and just responding in the time. And calculator, most important for any manager. And it was tough. Getting it, I had a family, I was living a normal this thing. Moved it till 2 levels, completely tired. And I was supposed to complete 3 levels. Then I took a pause in 2018. I said, okay, enough is enough. I have to take a breathing space, otherwise I'll burn out. 2020, COVID lockdowns happened, and the first idea that I got was let me revive my CIMA vision. By this time, I was still tired, and I realized how tough it was because just to give you a perspective, for clearing 12 exams, it took me 23 attempts. and a single failed attempt was a cost on me, whatever it is. What? It was like £100 or something like that. So then I moved to Accenture. 2018, I moved to Accenture, spent a phenomenal good amount of time over there. There is even a patent that I have pending with USPTO, which is into using artificial intelligence to sense fraudulent transactions. So anybody can be a vendor. So business email compromise, you must have heard about it. So business email compromise is like you three friends decide, okay, let's send over emails and try to get the bank account changed to a certain level. That kind of fraud, the size of that fraud is immense. You'll be surprised just for UK alone. It is 160 billion pounds worth of fraud happens every year. So we created a tool, basically a platform, which is able to sense it beyond the obvious. So even if your email is generating in Kazakhstan and you're projecting I am sitting in Seattle, it will be able to spot you. And it will say this is a flag. So it's basically, it provides a risk score. So that kind of stuff also I did with Accenture. Some stuff I did onto augmented reality. Now you see, what is happening is, I had good finance experience, I had good process orchestration experience, I had excellent experience on technology because of my stint with Capgemini Consulting into the enterprise architecture role. And places like Accenture, I'm bringing it all together. All this while I was not into marketing. So that happened in 2021. I moved to high radius into a core marketing role for the platform. One different kind of an environment, because so far it was corporate, very structured setup, listed companies only. This was a private company, startup. So culturally it was very different. And that's how I ended up, after spending 1 year over there, realizing, okay, it's not fully the way I prefer working. So then I shifted to IBM. And currently I am with IBM. So I'm working as an associate partner in finance and supply chain transformation. But if there is one common thread I can give from a career management standpoint for anybody, learn something. Life will be giving you numerous kind of challenges. So pick that up, learn what you need to learn very quickly, make it ready as a parcel for the next one. That's the way it has been. Here I am. Long introduction, I know.
Definitely, very well put, and it was a great insight. You covered a lot of aspects of your life, and essentially we understand that, okay, pick up things which you learn from different fields, club it together, and then form your own version of India.
And another thing is that people get stuck into this mindset, okay, I am from FNA, I have to stay with FNA, I cannot do this or I cannot. These are self-imposed barriers. You can practically do anything.
Diversify your career.
You can practically do anything. If I get a call from my boss saying, okay, we are bidding for some business for NASA, the RFP or the orals are tonight, my answer may be hell yes. Let's do it.
That's amazing, yeah.
That's if there is one thing I want to give to people, or my story where whosoever is listening is to take away from it, never say no to learning, never say no to experiences. You don't know where it will take you.
So, I have a question. So now, with us, our generation starting and getting into the work aspect, there are multiple opportunities, especially for starters. There are a number of jobs available. And there's always this question which keeps coming up, okay, so do we choose a company which is well established, or do we do a startup job? Because startup jobs end up paying way more than the companies. But if you get fired midway, and with the recession coming over, if we get fired midway, then we may not get the same, parallel jump into a better company with the same pay. So what would your suggestion be for starters in that way?
Let's take it on a very scientific approach. So I was just reading a particular report. There has been a 22.2% drop into the investments into startups in the last 1 year. So 2022 was a drop of 22.2% from 2021.
Yeah.
So which means the funding that is needed, because the startup environment is completely different. So you are all finance guys, so you know profitability, you know revenue, you know margins, you know growth, you know all these things. Try to understand it like this, that if you are running after margins, profitability, customer success, that is a different metric, rather than if you are running after growth. Startups are just running after growth. So one key aspect, they are ready to pay you more, but what is your priority of life? Do you need exposure? And in the sense, be a part of a corporate setup, a kind of established public firm, phenomenal learning experience because they will have the best of the learning programs, they will have the best of the leaders available to them already. So in your initial phases, in my view, going after money might not be the best bet. Indeed, if I have to put up an ideal trajectory, if my son is asking this question to me, my answer would be initial 5 years of your life. Give it to an established setup because you need to know how operations are run in the first place. You will not get to know from people who are not running.
That's true. Yeah. So you said that we need to develop like various skills over there, and when we are at the top, move to another. So, what skills would you suggest that we focus more initially, especially with getting?
So whatever is your core domain, whatever is your core domain,
Okay.
make technology your ally as a domain. You can't leave tech.
Okay. So, like a combination, let's say finance, so finance and tech, or marketing.
Let me put it this way. Your core domain could be finance, HR, whatever, law, whatever you are doing. Tech will be a parallel stream because everything will get executed through technology.
Yeah. Okay.
When I say technology, it is not just about a broader term, it is about specific about emerging technologies. So things like artificial intelligence, machine learning, cloud, natural language processing. You have quantum computing, you have blockchain, you have Web 3.0. Currently, you must be hearing a lot about GPT-3. Do you know what GPT is? Yes. You need to know how it can change and be very comfortable. So we use a phrase for this current era that we have entered. It is called VUCA. So volatile, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous.
Okay.
Volatile means it will be changing very fast. Uncertain, things will not be certain. It will not be clear as to what is going to happen. Complexity, we all know. Ambiguity, we all know. So this is the world we are living. So operating models will be changing very fast. The cycle shelf life of successful organizations will be shrinking. Are you comfortable with that kind of an environment? So your core domain could be the domain that you have a mastery on the subject matter for. But imagine something like ChatGPT. It is going to drastically change the life of coders. So people say, okay, I am a lifetime coder. Oh, ChatGPT is here. It's going to change your life. Why? Because you are not needed. But ChatGPT needs people who can tell what are the successful dynamics of a correct code, or who can perform the validator of the code that ChatGPT is writing, OpenAI's product is writing. So you have a role. It's different than what you imagined it to be when you started up the education process. You need to move with the time. So there are I would say there are two wheels to this bicycle. One wheel is your current domain or your accurate domain, whether it could be finance, it could be supply chain, it could be logistics, it could be anything in the world. Another one will be technology. It is not a unicycle which will work only with one. It needs both. You can't just bank your future on your core domain alone. If you're thinking like that, course correction, please.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, be willing to experiment. First thing, you will fail. But that will be a phenomenal experience. Look at Elon Musk. He's an example of failures. Right?
Yeah.
Today people look up to him, but he's an example of failures. Don't feel intimidated by failure. It is your teacher. It is your experimentation zone. Today, companies are spending money and showcasing it into their financial books by saying we have 20 innovation studios across the world. What is that innovation studio? Okay, a safe environment where people can fail. Build a product, experiment with the technology. Services company building drones with kind of computer vision technology to do remote sensing and all that for oil and gas. That is the kind of environment you are living in. Services organizations. They are not even oil and gas companies. But they are doing it. Be willing to fail. And the third one, regardless of what the situation is, whether you have a job or you don't have a job, always keep your chin up. So in one area, I always recommend Donald Trump. Entire world is burning. Keep your chin up. Okay, that's the recommendation I give.
Yeah, that definitely. Also, Mohit, now see, you've had a level of experience where you get to see different kinds of people, right? So you come across a lot of starters as well, new Chinese and stuff. So what would you say would be the common misconception they are having, or the common errors which they are making, which we could, highlight and.
They always believe somebody else will do it for them.
Hmm.
They believe somebody will debrief them what needs to be done,
Hmm.
lift their hand and tell them how it has to be done, whatever is the task.
Hmm.
That somebody is missing from corporates for more than 100 years now.
Hmm.
Who was supposed to do this? Nobody is there.
Hmm.
Consider yourself lucky if there are some good mentors who can give you directions. Otherwise, I quote Simon Sinek here, the motivational speaker.
Yes.
There is a scarcity of leadership in the world.
Hmm.
So the only way forward is you be a leader.
True.
And I believe in that fundamentally.
Hmm.
So they always believe, I see a lot of these young guys, they are brimming with energy, phenomenal potential, but they always believe somebody will be there to
Kids and all.
yeah, it's a white glove treatment, 5-star hotel resort kind of.
They can't expect hand holding and showing them the way.
See, if somebody, I have big respect for the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Infosys founder Narayan Murthy, he can come onto a public platform and say 90% of our engineering graduates are useless. You have built an entire company based on those graduates. You don't hire anybody who is not 80% and above marks and all that is some sort of criteria is there in Infosys. Like they don't hire anybody, people with who are the backbenchers or the second division kind of second citizens in the class. You have built an entire company. You are saying it on a public forum that graduates are not useful. You might be right. I'm not saying that. But that means to say that your company was not even able to solve this problem by itself.
Right.
Okay. So I have respect for the person, nothing against Infy. Great company, crowning glory of our corporate showcase. But it's so if you're expecting somebody will be there, Mr. Murthy has clarified. There is nobody.
Okay.
Be your own friend, philosopher, and guide when it comes to workplace. Be your own motivation guru, and be willing to walk the talk. Be willing to be there. Okay, I will do it. Your attitude can bring you bigger successes than what your skills, talent, and knowledge can. Because if your attitude is there, you will be able to discover where to find and secure skills, talent, and knowledge. If your attitude is not there, no amount of skills, talent, and knowledge can save you.
True.
I had a question. So, in your journey from Mohit Sharma, the graduate of BCom for a BCom, to graduate for to the associate partner at IBM, in this journey, were there mistakes that you had made?
A lot of them.
So, how did you learn from them, and how did you turn them into stepping stones?
Do you journal? Do you write?
I do. I do journal at
You write it. Even if it means after a while you are tearing it off and throwing it into the dustbin.
No, I don't.
Do it. So there are learnings, you look at it. You set up the context because our minds are still a piece of liquid that we carry in our skull. It's hardly 23-26 grams, but it's liquid. Everything is mixed. Okay? It's very difficult to discern and delineate things. Good way is not in just writing, I have given visual diagrams on this thing. Okay? This happened, okay, this is the rate, okay. Arrow, we moved here. This is what happened, okay, I made this mistake, I should not have done that. Okay, then I label it as red. I've done this much kind of work. I make mistakes even today. So your achievements will never be about you not making the mistakes.
Yeah.
It will always be about how fast you are learning from them, and how fast you are course correcting them, and how fast you are learning from others' mistakes. How observant you are. So
True.
I have made mistakes. I do it. No harm in saying it. I make mistakes. There are calculation errors, there are assessment errors, there are mistakes. Okay, I should not have joined this team. Okay, next time be careful.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can do. Okay. But mistakes, like, they are great teachers, so make that. More teachers you have, more evolved you will be. That's the way it is.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I had a question that in this competitive market, the freshers, what are they supposed to be different that they get selected into a good company or something like that?
See, 3 or 4 different things I will say. Now it's a slightly different question rather than the domain question that you asked earlier. This is now you are moving into the skills territory.
Yeah.
So if we have to develop the skills, what skills shall we develop that shine up? First and foremost, I would say be very diligent in research.
Exactly.
You should know your numbers right. I am speaking to you for about 30 minutes now. How many times you have seen me check on the phone, okay, Google search, do this thing. This is a number. What was it? Okay. Make research your friend. Develop skills of storytelling, even if you are not interested in PPT presentation. So even if there is no computer, no screen to project, if there is just a whiteboard, you should have the ability to engage audiences and engage their attention. If you need it for 30 minutes, you should be able to do it for 30 minutes. If you need it for 3 hours, you should be able to get it done for 3 hours. And they should not feel the need to yawn. That is your success criteria. That has to be the level of engagement for storytelling. Right? Storytellers will be the game changers into the universe. This is something Steve Jobs said. I firmly believe it. So if there is one skill you have to do, storytelling. One side note on that. Make it data-driven storytelling. You will stand out in your interviews, you will stand out in front of your bosses, you will stand out. Because if you make it a habit of daily going through some research papers related to your subject or what is the emerging tech into your specific domain, this will recall at the right moment automatically. If you don't make the commitment and the daily grind, you'll be clueless. Right? Sure. Third thing, this is more of an interpersonal thing rather than a skill or what you need to do. Be the biggest collaborator onto the planet. There is an unwritten race. Who's the biggest collaborator? The biggest collaborator always wins. Hands down. Believe in collaboration. So collaboration is not a one-way street.
Yeah, sure.
If you expect people to stand up for you, you have to stand up for them first.
Yes.
Somebody is stuck, your colleague is stuck into some sort of a challenging situation. Many people are not good at, let's say, PowerPoint. You are good at PowerPoint. Okay, let me make it for you.
Yeah.
I'll give my 3 hours of life just to make it easier for you. Somebody is not good at some sort of analytics, some Excel or whatever work. Okay, let me do it for you. Once you are into that domain, people will jump from a plane without a chute just to help you out.
Yeah, true.
At the drop of a hat. They will just be there. Try it. I'm giving you some new gods to worship. So research, data-driven storytelling, collaboration. I'll tell you something very interesting onto the collaboration part. So I started job in 2002. Obviously, I had friends from that time as well. Till date, I have maintained in touch. So if I'm even passing through the cities, we have traveled 100 miles just to meet each other and make it a point that we meet.
Yeah.
Anybody whom I met. So there have been people whom last time I met was in Gurgaon, then I met them in Chicago, there have been people I met in London. The spirit of collaboration is so high. The boss who hired me in Capgemini, he's a Frenchman.
Okay.
33 years into Capgemini. A legend in his own area, because just to give you a side note, in 1990s there was an attempt at driverless cars by Mazda, Japanese giant. 1990s, but the processing power was not there. Right? Because you see the entire semiconductor trajectory, you realize the processing power is a recent discovery in order to make it work. he was heading that project.
Hmm.
He was leading that project. He's a PhD in robotics.
Oh.
That too from some university in Japan.
Hmm.
He was waiting for 2 years for this lockdown and all that situation to improve just to meet me.
Oh.
So he made it a point, he visits India. His partner decided to abstain. He said, okay, you decide, I will go.
Hmm.
He planned a trip to India, he had to go to Kerala.
Hmm.
He came to Bangalore first just to meet me and my family.
Oh, that's amazing.
That is the collaboration I'm talking about.
Maintain the relationship.
Maintaining the relationship. It's never about some sort of carrot and stick incentive which is there. Can somebody be there for you? So you have to be the first person who's there for them.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Okay. So there should be motivation in people to meet you. That is the spirit of collaboration. So I made it a point. Must have made close to 250 international trips in my entire 18 years because I started traveling 2 years after working. I have maintained touch with everybody, regardless of which company I am working or which company they are working.
Okay.
It was never about the role.
Hmm.
It was always about the individual. So, collaboration is your
Mantra.
mantra.
That's wonderful. Also, Mohit, in the recent past, we saw there's a change of trajectory in the way the work is getting done, especially in corporate. Now, before it was corporates are focusing more on a certain sector of individuals, a certain types of skill set. Now, once the pandemic happened, everything moved online, and then again now we're coming back. So, do you think there'll be a change in the next 5 to 10 years in the working space? And if there is, then would there be something which we should focus on as individuals to cover for that change?
So, I'll put it this way. This is going to be like this for a decent amount of time now. Till the time the next wave emerges, you are able to discover what is the right model. It's not a model by choice because you realize that you can do everything that you were doing physically, you can do it remotely as well. Only once COVID happened. But the technologies and the supporting enablement environment existed much before that.
Yeah.
You realized it then. So it's not a thing that is going to stay forever. But this hybrid, it is going to stay.
Yeah.
So distance, location will not matter. You will have people who are logged in from different locations. You will have people who are present in their virtual avatars. You will have people who are personally present in a particular location. And all those locations will be streaming in a quite a near real environment. So are you comfortable with that kind of environment? So I'm not sure if you know about it that there was something which was called collaborative coding in the sense, right? So multiple people are logged into the same tool from different locations. They can code the same program.
Okay.
This technology existed for a while. It was not invented after COVID. But it was not used.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. So practically, these operating models will go through at least a couple of rounds of iteration before they become perfect. So you just have to be comfortable with that.
I think we pretty much covered what we wanted to know. I think we got to hear a lot from your end. So, what would be your final say to the newer generation in terms of, let's say, their career aspect, and what would you advise?
I'll put it like this. So, despite all the competition or what your families might be telling you or your friends might be speaking about, you are at an inflection point in the history of humanity where technologies are trying to act as a competition by itself. Specifically, I'm saying from an AI, ML, and these things standpoint. Trust is the biggest factor, and zero trust is the name of the game. Right? You have to really pull up your socks in order to compete. It's because you're not just competing with amongst yourself, there is another human. You are competing with the tech as well, which might come over and snatch what you're doing. How do you make differentiation as a part of your normal day-to-day life? This has to be done by Yasser, this has to be done by Junaid, this has to be done by Absam. Only. Nobody. So it's a kind of a vision that, okay, take a metaphor. Tony Stark is surrounded by tech. Nobody can replace Tony Stark.
Yeah.
So human-machine collaboration Are you the human who can instruct machines in a way that they cannot pose a challenge? Are you the unique human, the like of which doesn't exist anywhere else in the world? You are at that inflection point. Now it is good from the standpoint because the kind of growth it can give you. It is bad if you are nervous.
Okay.
So I'll put it this way. There is an inflection point, the opportunity is wide open. It has never been so easy, so convenient to find information, to get assistance from machines. It has never been more easier than that. The kind of gadgets that you have, every person used to carry, I don't know how many gadgets, but these days at least 3 gadgets every person is having, 3 or 4.
True.
So you are assisted in multiple ways. Never been a more mature environment for building the skills, being the best version of yourself. So take it.
I think that's fantastic advice. We will personally benefit a lot from it.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful speaking to you about it. Thank you so much, Mohit.
Thank you. It was a real pleasure speaking to you guys and seeing you guys are seriously pursuing something which is worth. So
Yeah.
it's great. Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.